Everyone keeps talking about how important mental health is, but let me ask you, what do you actually do for your mental health? Maybe you can list a few things, but maybe nothing at all. But today, we're going to change that. My name is Travis, and I'm a therapist who's passionate about self-development. And today we're going into 5 crucial habits for cultivating good mental health. We're going to go into what these habits are and why each of them are so important for creating good mental health. The first and maybe most important mental health habit is getting regular exercise. You may have heard of this one before, but what you may not have known is that in studies, exercise is shown to consistently, time and time again, reduce negative mental health symptoms like stress, anxiety, and even depression scores. I can't stress this enough, but anything from just going on a walk, getting your steps in, to lifting heavy weights in the gym can drastically improve your quality of life and your mental well-being. We've known and talked about exercise for years as the best preventative medicine against heart disease, cancer, even cognitive decline. But for some reason, we've slipped away from this idea of the ancient wisdom of exercise being used for mental health. Nearly 2,500 years ago in ancient Greece, doctor and philosopher Hippocrates would routinely recommend to his patients to go for a long walk, to get outside and just move their body if they were feeling, at that time, he called it melancholy. The most important part of this is to pick an exercise form that you actually enjoy, because if you enjoy it, then you're more likely to be able to stay consistent with it. Next, we have a truly underrated habit, especially if you live in a big city, but it is so important for mental health to spend time in nature. At minimum, daily visits to a piece of greenery, some local parks, somewhere quiet with natural beauty, to help your body reset and your mind reset is just an absolute necessity. We're designed to be part of an ecosystem, and reconnecting to our roots literally and metaphorically is going to help us regulate our emotional current. So why is this? Meaning, we all know if you have a good day out in nature, a lot of times that can feel restorative, especially if you're coming from a big city. But some theories suggest that it really connects us to like our evolutionary and biological roots, where all of our senses are so actively engaged and so effortlessly engaged that our mind is able to just decompress, and it can reduce fatigue. It can reduce the amount of strain and effort that we use to focus on unnatural stimuli to us. But when we're in nature, all of our senses are so effortlessly engaged in this lighter flow state that we're able to kind of just let our mind decompress. We don't have as much tension on it. Now, the next habit, which is a fundamental piece to cultivating good mental health, is having a habit that we can do at the end of the day that actively unwinds our mind. A lot of times this is doing something creative, like making art or writing, or for other people, this might be something more restorative, like meditating or reading. But the key point here is I want you to pick something that's away from a screen, especially if you're doing this later in a day. That'll help you with the other habit of getting a good night's sleep. And something that fully engages you. And again, a light flow state that allows your mind to drift away from stressors, allows your mind to kind of process what's going on and just drift into a calmer state. Prioritizing doing something like this at the end of our day can be really hard because in such a busy world, it just doesn't really feel productive. And that can be hard. If we never find time in our routine to let our brain relax, let our mind decompress, then we're going to risk being constantly fatigued and on the brink of burnout all the time. And this ends up being much more detrimental because we fool ourselves into thinking we're going to be productive 24/7. But if our mind is never properly rested, then we're never going to actually be able to act on all this desire for productivity. Our mind's just not going to let us. We're just going to be in such a stressed, anxious, overthinking state if we never properly allow time to relax. The next habit we need to talk about is eating right. Again, you may have heard of this one, but it can be a little bit complicated. It's hard to recommend a specific diet for mental health. But roughly speaking, try to cut out processed foods, replace them with whole foods as much as possible, and you're going to see a tremendous impact in your cognitive clarity. It's going to remove brain fog. It's going to give you more energy. It's going to keep your energy consistent throughout the day. This is a really interesting point. We talk about blood sugar spikes, blood glucose levels like going way up when we eat something and then going way down. We see this a lot in reference to conditions like diabetes and being pre-diabetic and things like that. But glucose levels have a tremendous impact on how our energy is activated. So when we get an energy spike, we eat a lot of sugar, we eat hardcore, refined carbohydrates, and our blood sugar levels go way up, and then it spikes back down. We're going to feel a rise in energy right after eating, and then we have that crash. We have that carb crash. So in order to avoid this, again, we want to be smart about how we're eating and recognize that what we eat, the fuel that you put into your body, is going to actively impact how you actually feel. Our gut is like a second brain. If we feed it the right fuel, then our machine's going to run better for longer, physically and mentally. It's so hard because this garbage is super addictive, and we know this, but when we cut out the garbage and we cut out the bad food and we're replacing it with good food, we're going to be mentally clearer. Our mood is going to be more stabilized. We're probably going to have an easier time sleeping. Our stomach is not going to feel upset all the time. And we're not going to be all over the place, energy-wise, mood-wise. So eating right, again, cannot be overstated. And last but certainly not least is having a good sleep schedule. But a good sleep schedule, this is so vague. So let's break down what a good sleep schedule actually is. Roughly speaking, a good sleep schedule is a consistent routine where you unwind your mind before bed and then you get enough hours of sleep and quality sleep in bed. So generally for adults, you're going to want 7 to 9 hours of sleep. That seems to be a good target, but really aiming closer to the 8 to 9 hours of sleep in bed, because usually we drastically overestimate how much time we're actually asleep. We don't account for how much time it takes us to fall asleep, waking up in the middle of the night, all these different things that really bring what we think is 8 hours in our mind, really brings it down to probably 7.5, 8. If you ever use a fitness tracker, you know what I'm talking about. We know that a lack of sleep has significant impacts on people's cognition and mood, and this is largely due to the absolutely detrimental hormonal impacts that a lack of sleep has on you. A lack of sleep keeps your stress hormones, cortisol, constantly elevated and throws your hunger hormones out of whack. So you crave the foods that you shouldn't be eating throughout the day, and you just continue to kind of make decisions that your tired mind wants you to make because it's easier, but it doesn't actually help you. So when your hormones are out of whack and you're feeling more tired, you're feeling more irritable, well, if you can't think straight and you're already irritable, it's no wonder you're going to feel more anxious and stressed throughout your day. So make sure to get a good night's sleep. Your sanity literally depends on it. So with all these habits, go one step at a time with these. Slow and steady and intentional, that's a key point there. Intentional change is going to be what really makes the difference. You want to do it one step at a time. You don't need to become a bodybuilder in the gym, and if you're only sleeping 4 hours, switch to doing 9 hours and switch up your whole schedule. Take it one step at a time, and over time, you'll see tremendous shifts in probably your physical health as well, but for the purposes of this video, for your mental health. Thank you for watching. If you're looking for more life-changing content, click the video right here. Let me know in the comments what your favorite mental health habit, what your favorite mental health practice is, and remember to hit life on all cylinders.